Hey everyone, welcome back to Katie's Favorite Recipes. Today I've got 3 great recipes that I think you all are going to love. The first one is egg roll in a bowl, the second one is mini meatball subs, and the third one is ground beef and broccoli. These were all super simple. It didn't take long to throw them together and they were delicious. They did feed my family of 4, plus they gave us leftovers, which we really like. But before we do get into those recipes, I want to say thank you all so much to all of my subscribers. Thank you all to everybody for watching and liking my videos. I'm really excited to watch my channel grow. This has been a lot of fun and I can't wait to get into fall recipes and things like that. But for now, let's go ahead and get started with the egg roll in a bowl. I'm starting off cooking my sausage. So I have 2 pounds of sausage here. I just got 2 of the rolled up packages of the sausage. And I am going to cook that until it is fully cooked all the way through. This recipe was the easiest recipe I think I've ever made. We absolutely loved it. It was so easy to just throw together. It literally took no time. I threw it together. There was no chopping involved on any vegetables or anything like that. I just simply threw it in there, cooked it, and it was done. So once my sausage was done and I have strained it, I've got 2 bags of this tricolor coleslaw. I'm just going to dump my tricolor coleslaw bags in here with my finished cooked and strained sausage. But if you wanted to cook it separately, you could, because my pot was almost overflowing. But this does cook down. You just have to wait for it to wilt down and start cooking. But it was a little bit messy waiting for it to cook down, trying to stir it, because my sausage started sticking in the bottom of the pan a little bit. So if you wanted to do it separately and leave the sausage out after you strain it and then add the sausage back in, you can do that. Or if you just want to do it the way I did and just stir it super carefully, feel free to do it that way. But I did knock just a little bit out, but it really wasn't a big deal. But once we stir that up just a little bit, we're just going to press it down, cover it up, let it cook for just a few minutes, stir it again, and just keep working with this recipe until it is cooked down. But it really don't take long, so we're just going to keep stirring and working with it, and then we are about to start adding in our seasonings. So for this recipe, I did 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. I also did 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then I did, starting off with about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, but I ended up adding around 4. Just depending on how you like your soy sauce and everything is how much you're going to use for this. But we're just going to sprinkle that on there and then just stir it up. But I did taste test this along the way to see how much I needed of everything. And then I just added as to what we liked. But if you want to add any other types of seasonings or anything like that, you can do that. But I'm serious, this recipe was so simple and it was delicious. I have actually seen this recipe around and I've been wanting to try it, but I was just kind of hesitant because I didn't know if it would really be that filling or anything like that, but it actually really was, and my kids even loved it. We thought it was super good. But yeah, I taste tested it, and here I am adding 2 more tablespoons my soy sauce, and then I'm just going to taste it again, and I felt like 4 was enough for me. If you wanted to use reduced sodium with this, you could do that, or you can use regular. I used regular just so I could get the saltiness of it for this recipe, and I didn't add any extra salt to it, so we really did enjoy this. It was so easy, perfect for a busy weeknight, and it did give my family of 4 leftovers. But once your vegetables are cooked the way you like them and tender, then you are ready to serve this up. If you want to add red pepper to the top, feel free to do that, and enjoy. On to the mini meatball subs now. We're going to start off with our 9x13 casserole dish, and I'm using Italian style frozen meatballs. This is a 32-ounce bag. I sprayed my casserole dish with non-stick spray just a little bit, and then I just took this bag of meatballs and just dumped it right in there. They're still frozen. I didn't throw them out, and I'm going to bake those according to the package. And then while those are baking, I'm going to start on my pasta sauce. I've got 2 jars here of my marinara sauce, and each jar is about 23 ounces. I did total 1.5 of those jars, so it was about 34 ounces altogether, and that was pretty much enough. I actually had some left over still, but anyways, I'm going to add in my seasonings to this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I am doing about half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and then half a teaspoon of oregano seasoning. Just wanted to add just a little bit more flavor to it, but marinara sauce really is already flavored, so you don't have to. Once our meatballs are finished, I am going to use this bread. This is top sliced buns. I was actually trying to get hoagie buns, but for some reason they gave me these, so I was like, I'm just going to work with this and make mini meatball subs out of it, and it was actually really good. Like, the mini versions were easier to eat than a full size would be, but you can do full size or mini subs, however you want to do it. And then these little buns hold about 4 meatballs altogether, so I'm going to start assembling this. I'm going to put down my marinara sauce, and then I'm going to put in my meatballs. If you wanted to do your meatballs and just toss them into your marinara sauce all at once and then assemble your sandwich, you can do that. But I just did it this way to ensure that we each got as much marinara sauce as we wanted. So that's why I did it this way. But I'm just going to put those in my buns, and then I'm going to top it with more marinara sauce. And then you can go in with the cheese that you like. I prefer Monterey Jack for this. Just really been enjoying Monterey Jack's cheese, so if you want to do that, you can. Or if you want to do mozzarella, I know a lot of people do that. Pepper Jack would probably be really good on this as well. But just whatever cheese you want to do, and go ahead and top it with that. And then that is it. You can serve this with a side or as is. And this was so simple, and it was delicious. Lastly, we're moving on to the ground beef and broccoli. This recipe was so good, just like the others, and it was super simple. For this recipe, I like to use fresh broccoli. If you want to use frozen, you're more than welcome to do that. But I just got one of those bags of the fresh broccoli florets. It's already cut off the head. So really, there's not a whole lot of work to do with this. I just like to cut them down and maybe cut the really big chunks of stems off. We just like our broccoli pieces a little bit smaller, but not so small they'll turn into mush. And then once we finish that, we are going to start working on our sauce. I did 1 teaspoon of ground ginger on this, and I'm just going to pour that into a bowl. And then next, I'm going to do about 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. If you want to do a little less or a little more, feel free to do that, but I am doing 3 teaspoons. And then after that, I'm going to do my soy sauce. I'm doing 3/4 of a cup. You can use regular or reduced sodium. And then next, I'm going to do 2/3 cups of brown sugar. And we're just going to stir that up and make sure that the brown sugar gets kind of melted in. Next, I'm going to put in my beef broth, and I am doing 1.5 cups of that. And I also did 1/4 cup of cornstarch to help thicken the sauce whenever it cooks. If you want yours a little thicker or a little thinner, you can adjust that, but we're just going to mix all this up really well, and then we are going to set this to the side. But with my beef broth, I use water and beef bouillon cubes, and I mix that up so mine's warm and it helps melt the cornstarch, so I whisked all the lumps out of that and set that to the side. Next, I'm going to be cooking my 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm just going to mash that down into really fine pieces. If you want to leave yours a little bigger or a little chunkier, that's fine. You can do that. I did have a piece in the middle that was still frozen that I didn't realize, so I kind of had to work around that and let it cook and thaw out a little more, but it was fine. And then once everything gets browned and cooked through and the meat gets to the size you want, we're going to strain it. And then we are going to add in all of our broccoli. Once we add in our broccoli, we are going to pour our sauce over top of all of this, and then we're just going to cook this until our broccoli is tender the way we like it and our sauce is thickened. We want to make sure we scrape the bottom of this bowl to make sure we don't leave any of the little seasoning bits or anything like that. But we're just going to stir this up really well, and then we are going to cover this and let our broccoli cook. And this recipe was so simple, and it was super good. We loved it. I actually have a recipe similar to this, but instead of ground beef, I'm using stir-fry meat, and it's in one of my earlier recipes, so you can feel free to check that out. But I wanted to try ground beef because I've been seeing that, and this was actually super good. We loved it. But we're just going to stir this up. It doesn't look super saucy, but it actually had quite a bit in it. But if you feel like yours isn't saucy enough, you can go ahead and add more sauce to this and double the mixture, however you want to do it. But once our broccoli is done, that's it. It's ready to eat. You can serve it over rice. And this recipe was super good. All 3 of these did give my family of 4 leftovers, and we really enjoyed these easy weeknight meals. So I hope you all do too, and thanks for watching.